Woman was about to secretly kiss her boss. She wanted to use her ability to see if there was any chance between them. But unexpectedly, he woke up. Faced with such an awkward situation, she quickly made an excuse and left in a hurry. The next day, they ran into each other again in the elevator. She tried to start a conversation, thanking him for saving her yesterday, but Jack didn't even look at her. He went straight to talking about work, as if nothing had happened the day before. Mary didn't dare bring it up again. After the meeting, Jack asked her to go to the event site with him. Mary learned from the workers that Jack had come the day before the shoot to personally inspect the venue for her event. Mary was about to leave carrying some props. Then Jack showed up again. He took the props from her hands and walked away without saying a word. Mary couldn't figure out what he was thinking. After the event wrapped up, Mary pulled out her phone to take a selfie as a keepsake. Unexpectedly, Jack appeared in the shot. Startled, she even dropped her phone. That became their very first photo together. But Jack didn't come to congratulate her. Instead, he scolded her for the mistakes she made this time. Mary could only lower her head and take the lecture. But what she didn't know was that he did this to prepare her to take over the next big project. But it only made her more certain that they could never happen. On her way back, she suddenly froze at the sight of the TV because the man on the screen was her ex-boyfriend. Memories came flooding back and her mood worsened. So she threw herself completely into work. But then the company suddenly lost power and she didn't bring her phone. She had no choice but to leave, but she ran straight into Jack. Before she could even scream, he covered her mouth, and that triggered her ability. She saw a vision of the future, Jack proposing to her with a ring. The sudden vision left her completely stunned.
아니 언제부터 날 좋아하고 있었대? 진짜 괴롭히고 희열없는 변태인가?
It started pouring outside. Jack suddenly brought up something from 2 years ago. Back then, Mary had shared her thoughts about the rain right here. Mary was surprised he remembered so clearly. Jack joked that she was the forgetful one. He left his umbrella behind and walked away. That day, the company held its anniversary celebration. Mary wore the same dress she had seen in her vision of the future. She wanted to face this moment bravely. When she saw Jack with his hair cut short, just like in the vision, her heart filled with hope. But by the end of the party, nothing had happened. Mary felt a little disappointed. Then someone suddenly called out her name. She turned around and was shocked to see her ex-boyfriend. He wanted to get back together, but Mary walked away without saying a word. Back when they were dating, Mary had tried to reach him so many times, but he always hung up saying he was busy. They had a huge fight over it and broke up, but the bigger reason was because Mary never saw him in her future. She walked down the street in disappointment, not paying attention to the traffic. Luckily, Jack showed up just in time and pulled her into his arms. Jack noticed something was off with Mary today, so he took her to grab some street food to cheer her up. Mary let herself go for once and had a few too many drinks. When they were sitting in the car, Mary, emboldened by the alcohol, told Jack about her secret ability. She could see the future whenever she kissed someone, and in that future, they had slept together. She wanted to make sure it was real.
내가 먼저 하자고 한 거다.
The woman woke up in the hotel, startled. She saw her boss appear from the side. That's when she remembered what happened yesterday. She had kissed him under the influence of alcohol. She asked Jack if he remembered what happened yesterday. Jack remembered everything clearly because he hadn't been drinking, and he even learned from her that the two of them would eventually sleep together, but he thought that was impossible. After all, whenever he touched a woman, he became weak. He didn't have the strength for anything like that, but he was extremely curious. So he asked Mary again in the elevator if she had any visions yesterday. This time, Mary couldn't remember a thing. Jack was now sure she had been drunk. Just then, the elevator doors opened. To their surprise, it was Mary's ex-boyfriend. He started chatting with Jack about an ad campaign. Mary stood behind them, listening awkwardly. Thankfully, the elevator reached their floor quickly. She escaped the awkward situation, but right at the exit, she ran into another acquaintance. He saw them leaving the hotel together and was about to gossip. Jack shot him a look immediately. The guy instantly understood. He quickly came up with an excuse for them. Mary, wanting Jack to believe in her ability, asked him to meet after work. That's when Jack suddenly realized he always felt weak when he touched a woman, but kissing Mary didn't affect him at all. And when he was near her, the constant noise in his ears vanished too. He called his doctor to ask about it, but the doctor had no idea why. After work, the two met. Mary grabbed his hand and kissed it. Then she told Jack 3 things that would happen. The doctor would be bleeding in his house. A car would circle around the two of them, and his phone screen would shatter. Jack still didn't fully believe her, but one thing was certain. Being close to Mary didn't make him weak. At night, the doctor came to his house. He insisted on sleeping in his room. Jack kicked him out with one swift move. The doctor turned around, blood streaming from his nose. Jack suddenly remembered Mary's prophecy.
근데 승탁 선생님이 코피를 흘리시는데요. 둘이 뭐 이렇게 치고받고 싸우시나?
The two of them left the room to settle things. Meanwhile, Kelly found a lipstick under his bed. The shade looked strangely familiar to her. Then she realized It was the exact shade Mary used. She went to ask Jack about it, but he stayed silent, which made her feel uneasy. To get better inspiration for their commercial, the three of them went out together. They arrived at a place covered with yellow sand. Nick told the two to get out of the car. He then drove in circles, showing off his driving skills. That moment once again matched Mary's prophecy.
보이세요? 이 흙먼지. 제가 묘사한 곳이랑 똑같잖아요. 우리 둘이 여기에서 서 있는 거 봤다고. 그때 제가 말한 대로잖아요.
Just then, Jack got a call and stepped away. Nick immediately seized the chance to be alone with her. He confessed his feelings to Mary.
그래서 난 너랑 연애 말고 결혼하려고 돌아온 거야.
He asked Mary to agree to go on 3 dates with him. Mary muttered crazy under her breath and turned to leave, but she stepped on a rock and nearly fell. Luckily, Jack caught her in time. Her phone slipped and the screen cracked. At that point, all 3 prophecies had come true. Jack finally believed what she had said, that the two of them would end up together. But Mary didn't want her feelings to interfere with her work. To her surprise, Jack said,
하자.
네?
Woman accidentally kissed her boss. She even foresaw that the two of them would get physically close in the future. When she told him about it, Jack bluntly said, then let's do it tonight. But he also had another request. Before he could say it, Ella suddenly showed up and interrupted. So he had no choice but to send her away first. Ella asked if he was dating Mary. Jack didn't want to answer. But then Ella suddenly said,
그 홍예술이 오빠 비밀도 알아? 홍예술이 오빠 비밀을 알아도 오빠를 만날 수 있을까?
Jack had been troubled by this very question all along. So when Mary later asked about his terms again, Mary only wanted to resolve something in her heart, but somehow it turned into a love story. She couldn't sleep the whole night because of it. The next day when she saw him, she directly turned down his request.
다른 사람도 아니고 팀장님이랑 제가 상상할 수가 없습니다.
When Mary said it wouldn't work between them, the man's confidence suddenly flared up. He argued back at Mary, "We're both single. Why would dating be unreasonable?"
아니, 왜 없다고 단정 지으세요?
그럼 있어? 그럼 있는 사람이 맨날 야근에 철야에 나랑 원나잇을 하니?
Just then, her ex-boyfriend called. It was supposed to be a simple work handover, but Mary suddenly said yes to the date he had asked for last time. She even gave Jack a provocative look. Nick was completely stunned by the unexpected surprise. He quickly pushed all his work aside. The next day, he waited early downstairs at Mary's place. They went camping together in the wild. Mary, however, regretted her impulsiveness a little, so she treated the date as if it were part of a filming job. But Nick remembered her old eating habits. He told her to finish eating first before doing anything else. Those little details threw Mary into confusion again. They stayed together from day to night, and finally Nick asked the question that had always been on his mind.
우리 왜 헤어진 거냐?
Mary, however, couldn't explain, because she had already seen, time and time again in the future, that he would live happily with someone else. So she made up an excuse and asked him to take her home. But when Mary returned home, she found the lights wouldn't turn on. The whole place was a mess. Just then, a stranger stepped out from behind the curtain.